A woman suddenly came running out of the darkness. She screamed for help toward a nearby house. Right behind her was a masked killer. But strangely enough, despite all the commotion outside, the woman inside the house seemed completely unaware. She calmly continued washing dishes and preparing dinner. Mike dropped the body and began looking around the property. After confirming that the woman was home alone, he smugly punched the window. Then he dragged the body away and hid it. After finishing dinner, the woman sat down on the couch and opened her laptop. Her name was Maddie. She was deaf and unable to speak. She made a living writing and publishing novels. Just then, the front door slowly creaked open, yet Maddie remained focused on her writing. Seeing this, Mike grew even bolder. He stepped inside the house, pulling out a knife. He deliberately made noise by striking metal objects around him. Once Mike realized that Maddie truly couldn't hear, he lost interest in attacking her right away and put the knife away. At that moment, Maddie received a video call. Mike quickly ducked out of sight. The call was from one of her friends, asking how her latest novel was coming along. Using sign language, Maddie explained that she was still struggling with the ending. As the two continued chatting, Mike quietly slipped behind her and stole her phone, but his black glove was spotted by the friend on the screen. Confused, she asked who the shadowy figure was. Maddie assumed it was probably her cat. The cat had disappeared earlier, and she had been looking for it ever since. After ending the call, she went searching for the cat again. She checked every room in the house several times, but couldn't find it anywhere. Thinking it had wandered outside, she left the front door slightly open for it. Then she returned to the couch and continued writing. A few moments later, several messages suddenly appeared on her computer. They had been synced from her phone. When she opened them, her blood ran cold. The photo showed her sitting on the couch only seconds earlier. There were several more pictures as well. Every single one had been taken while she was searching for the cat around the house. The final photo had been taken from the front doorway. Realizing the door was still open, Maddie nervously set her laptop aside and walked over. That's when she finally spotted Mike, the man who had been lurking around her house all evening. Her breathing became rapid. Her heart pounded in her chest. Meanwhile, Mike smugly held up her phone. Maddie immediately rushed back to her laptop. She tried to use the Wi-Fi to contact the police, but just as the call was about to connect, the entire house suddenly went dark. Mike had cut the power from outside. Desperate, Maddie tried connecting to a neighbor's Wi-Fi network. Unfortunately, she didn't know the password. Now she was completely trapped inside the house, and Mike could break in at any moment. Mike checked her phone. After confirming there were no saved passwords for the neighboring Wi-Fi, he looked toward the house with a smug grin. Then he dragged his knife across the glass in a deliberate act of intimidation, as if telling her, "You're not surviving tonight." While Mike went off to slash her car tires, Maddie quickly grabbed a tube of lipstick and wrote several messages on the glass. Using a flashlight, she tried to get his attention. She told him she wouldn't tell anyone. She claimed she had never seen his face. Then she added that her boyfriend would be home soon. But after reading the message, Mike simply pulled off his mask. He deliberately revealed his face. Then he asked if she could read lips. Maddie nodded. Mike smirked. "Now you've seen my face." He even quoted messages from her private conversations, exposing the fact that she didn't actually have a boyfriend. Then he arrogantly told her that if he wanted to enter the house, he could do it any time, but he wasn't interested in ending things so quickly. What he really wanted was to watch her suffer and struggle. After Mike walked away, Maddie retreated to her bedroom in fear. She shoved a cabinet against the door. After securing the room, she curled up in a corner. Sometime later, a dark figure began pounding against the window. Although Maddie couldn't hear the sound, she noticed the shadow reflected on the wall. Slowly turning around, she froze. Mike was using the dead woman's body to strike the glass. A twisted smile stretched across his face. The sight shattered Maddie, because the victim was Sarah, the very neighbor who had come over for tea earlier that afternoon. The moment she saw what had happened to her friend, she completely lost her composure. She hurried to the side of the house near her car, frantically pressing the key fob. She hoped the alarm would distract Mike. Earlier that day, she had noticed a phone sticking out of Sarah's pocket, but the distance was too great, and the car alarm never went off. With no other choice, Maddie took a huge risk. She quietly opened a door, then immediately pressed the key fob again. The noise finally caught Mike's attention. As he ran toward the car, Maddie rushed to a window and climbed outside. She searched Sarah's body desperately, but couldn't find the phone anywhere. Realizing he had been tricked, Mike immediately turned around and sprinted back. With murder in his eyes, he pulled Sarah's phone from his pocket and waved it at Maddie. "The phone is right here. Come and get it if you dare." With no other option, Maddie climbed back inside the house. Then she made a bold decision. While Mike wandered off searching the property, she quietly slipped out the front door. Her plan was to reach Sarah's house and get help from Sarah's boyfriend, John. But Maddie couldn't speak, and she couldn't hear. She had barely made it a short distance before an arrow shot past her, forcing her to stop. With no choice left, she ran back inside and locked the door. Watching her panic, Mike casually tapped the glass with one of his arrows and flashed a sinister grin. Despite her disability, Maddie possessed extraordinary courage. She refused to give up, and now, her only chance of survival was reaching John's house. So while Mike was downstairs inspecting his crossbow, Maddie grabbed a flashlight, climbed out of a second-floor window, and disappeared into the darkness. After reaching the platform outside, Maddie carefully stepped across the metal panels. When she got to the very edge, she wound up her arm and hurled the flashlight deep into a distant patch of bushes. Seeing the light in the distance, Mike assumed Maddie had escaped from the house. He immediately grabbed his crossbow and rushed after it. At the same time, Maddie quickly made her move and started climbing down a nearby ladder. Unable to hear anything, she moved slowly and carefully, afraid of making even the slightest noise. But the moment she reached the ladder, she realized Mike had already been waiting below. He deliberately fired an arrow into her thigh. The shot instantly took away much of her mobility. In the struggle, Maddie managed to seize the crossbow from Mike. Desperate to fight back, she tried to draw the string and fire, but with an arrow wound in her leg, she simply didn't have the strength. Dragging her injured leg behind her, Maddie limped back into the house. She hid in the bathroom and quickly wrapped her thigh, but the wound refused to stop bleeding. Blood continued pouring from it. At this point, the only way to survive was to load the crossbow and take Mike down, but drawing the string required tremendous force, and with one leg badly injured, Maddie was powerless. She could only sit on the floor in despair. Meanwhile, Mike stood outside the window watching her, pretending to be sympathetic. He mocked her with exaggerated gestures and a smug grin. Just then, a knock came from the front door. It was Sarah's boyfriend, John. When Sarah failed to come home and wouldn't answer her phone, he decided to check on her himself. He also noticed the writing near the doorway. Immediately, he suspected something was wrong at Maddie's house. Just as he reached for his phone to call the police, Mike walked over, but Mike was far more cunning than he appeared. Pretending to be a police officer, he quickly fooled John. He even put on an act and inspected John's identification. The performance was convincing enough that John believed him. Mike claimed that he had responded to a distress call, but shortly after arriving, a criminal had attacked him, knocking him unconscious. When he woke up, his phone, wallet, and service weapon were all gone. Mike further explained that he wasn't wearing a uniform because he was a rookie officer. With multiple incidents occurring throughout the area that night, the department was short-staffed, so he had been temporarily assigned to patrol the neighborhood. Even after hearing the explanation, John remained suspicious, but when Mike said he needed to call for backup, John handed over his phone. During the exchange, an earring accidentally fell from Mike's pocket. The moment John saw it, everything became clear, because it was the very same earring he had given Sarah as a birthday gift. Instantly, he realized Sarah had likely met a terrible fate. Thinking quickly, John told Mike that a spare key might be hidden in the flower bed beneath the stairs. As Mike bent down to search, John quietly picked up a large rock, preparing to strike from behind.
In here, you said? Easy. Hey.
Without Maddie's interference, Mike might not have been able to overpower John. Feeling confident, Mike even admitted that he had stabbed Sarah to death. The moment John heard those words, his rage exploded. He lunged forward without hesitation, locking both arms around Mike's throat and driving him to the ground. But John's body had already been weakened by his injuries. The harder he fought, the weaker he became. After seeing Maddie signaling from inside for him to run, John's strength finally gave out, and he collapsed dead on the spot. Inside the house, Maddie hesitated for a long time. Countless possible outcomes raced through her mind, but in every scenario, there was a strong chance Mike would kill her, so she decided to do the opposite of what he expected. Instead of waiting, she would set a trap and strike first. What Maddie failed to realize was just how patient Mike truly was. His plan was simple: wait until she lost too much blood, wait until she became too weak to fight, then walk inside and finish her off. At the same time, he remained wary of the crossbow in her hands. He wasn't willing to risk taking an arrow. Just then, a small cat wandered past him. After noticing the tag around its neck, Mike recognized it as Maddie's pet. He immediately pulled out his knife. Later, when Maddie stepped outside to retrieve one of the arrows, Mike suddenly slammed the door shut on her hand, trapping it in place. Then he repeatedly stomped on it, crushing the bones in her hand. The pain was unbearable. Maddie opened her mouth wide in agony, but she couldn't scream. No sound could escape. Seeing her hand badly injured, Mike knew she could no longer use the crossbow. Through the door, he told her that he was finally coming inside to kill her, but instead of showing fear, Maddie responded with defiance. She wrote large words across the glass, calling Mike a coward. The insult instantly enraged him. Mike stormed over to a vehicle, grabbed a crowbar, and began smashing the doors and windows. What he didn't expect was that the glass was extremely strong, nearly impossible to break, no matter how hard he struck. It held. Meanwhile, Maddie finished writing her final message on the computer, carefully describing Mike's appearance in detail. Then she clutched her wounded thigh and retreated into the bathroom, holding a kitchen knife tightly in her hand. She stared at the doorway without blinking, but before long, her vision started to blur. The blood loss was finally catching up with her as her sight faded in and out. Mike managed to climb through a window, silently making his way inside. He crouched behind her bathtub, waiting. Then suddenly, a cry of pain broke the silence. Furious, Mike was now determined to end it as quickly as possible. Maddie sprayed insecticide directly into his face and activated the home's alarm system. The siren was deafening, far too loud for an ordinary person to endure. Fortunately, Maddie was completely unaffected. As Mike struggled in pain, she grabbed the knife from the floor, but the difference in strength between them was overwhelming. Within seconds, Mike pinned her beneath him, his hands clamped tightly around her throat. In the final desperate struggle, Maddie managed to retrieve her phone from Mike's pocket and dialed 911.